Good evening and welcome. Tonight we have our 12th episode of 52 sentence horror stories, and I have to thank you all for the great 2-sentence stories I got from comments. Seem to be getting better and better, but quickly before we begin, I just want to advise they could be triggering topics, so discretion's advised. You guys just seem to be pretty dark. With that said, let's begin. I made burgers tonight. I'm relieved the police won't find the body now. Me and my new boyfriend sat on his couch as we watched a horror doc about an axe killer from the 80s. We laughed at how he must have a long lost twin. The resemblance was uncanny. I took my daughter to the park the other day. The police found her body last night. My meal was cold, but I still managed to choke it down. Now I can carry Rebecca with me forever. I'm no good at writing 2-sentence horror stories. The children in my basement come up with them after all. Growing up using websites like Neopets and MySpace, my parents were dead serious about me being careful about internet predators. I bet they never expected those same sites to become my favourite hunting grounds decades later. I was in China listening to a stand-up comedian making fun of government in Beijing. The jokes weren't that good, but I liked the execution. I went to this haunted house with 2 of my best friends to test out a theory that erases your memory. We recollected information and the 2 of us walked out disappointed when you realise that nothing happened. I never forget the words my captor told me. Paying for haunted house actors is expensive. I heard my roommates talking outside of my room in the middle of the night. As I got up to tell them to keep the noise down, I remembered that I live alone. Did you know that if a service dog comes to you, it means the owner is in trouble? Finally, a new victim, I thought, as I followed the dog and pulled out my knife. The woman walked into her foster son's room. Having heard her husband leave it, she glared at the sobbing boy. "Keep it down next time, you brat." Hank went to his prostate exam. Mid-exam, he suddenly realised that both doctors' hands are on his shoulders. I love putting makeup on people. It makes my victims' corpses much prettier. I ran and I hid in my closet from the monsters I thought were in the darkness of my room. Then the demon from under my bed turned to me and said, "You're hiding from them too?" I grabbed a gun when I heard something moving outside my dad's old farmhouse. When I heard my dad's voice, I was glad he had taught me to always aim for the head when dealing with wendigos. Ever since quarantine started, families fallen on hard times, sometimes going days without a meal. The fact that the humans rarely come outside anymore makes hurting them all that more difficult. For years, when I was a child, I thought the walls of my bedroom were talking to me. I later found out it was coming from the window. As I wait for my friend in his basement, I notice something weird about all the eyes and the deer heads he has hanging on his wall. It makes me think of all the missing brown-eyed girls in town. There's nothing. Nobody outside this room, so it's up to us to repopulate. I was pushed onto the bed before I could even ask Daddy what he was doing. I might be one of the best serial killers in history. My favourite part is telling the family that we did everything we could. "Hey Kathy, how would you love to come to my place and be dinner tonight?" Deke asked her. A few seconds passed and then Kathy asked, "Wait, what did you ask me?" Growing up with cats and dogs, I was used to hearing scratching at my bedroom door. Now that I live alone with no pets, it's much more unsettling. I walked to the fridge and opened the door. To my horror, the stored head started blinking. I've always loved reading. It's like it transports you to another world. The issue is, I'm reading Stephen King and I don't know how to get out. "George, I've heard the house we're staying in is haunted by a ghost who reappears every 25 years to perform a human sacrifice." "George? George?" I labelled my lunch at work and placed it in the fridge. When lunch came around, it wasn't there. "Together forever," my girlfriend told me, as she sewed our bodies together. Silly, if people are really in a simulation, why don't I glitch sometimes and repeat what I say? Silly, if people are really in a simulation, why don't I glitch sometimes and repeat what I say? I awoke groggily to the sound of the bedroom door opening. "Where are you going, baby?" my girlfriend and I asked in unison. "Whoa, Hawaii is so pretty," I said, gazing up at the palm trees. My excitement stopped when a snowflake brushed by my ear. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Before we get started, this video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. I really do see everything, even my mother. I guess that car crash is going to stick with me. Ethan's new stepdad made me dinner tonight, rice and pork. After eating half of it, I noticed the meat was extra chewy, then I noticed my child's absence. I looked under the beds and in the closet. I should have looked up. You should always be quiet in a library. The books will tell him where you are. There was a guy named Mr. Teeth. No one really knew why he was named that. After the police raided his house and found all the dead bodies with their teeth missing, we finally found out why he was called Mr. Teeth. The bad news is that Jeanette, our own porch pirate princess of our neighbourhood, just stole 2 large boxes off my front porch. The good news is that she was about to find her missing son. On my birthday, Mother broke into my bedroom with a double-bladed axe and a deranged look on her face. How did she know that I wasn't her son? My dishwasher stopped working several times. Ever since I bought a whip, that problem has been solved. The scientists cheered as the pitch-black portal stabilised. That was until a deep voice from the other side said, "After many eons, we are free." Despite the shock and grief I was in, I managed to sign the paperwork that gave the doctors permission to harvest the organs of my now dead son. Had I known that a clerical error would make it so my son's heart ended up in the chest of the drunk driver who killed him, I never would have done it. I looked down at the drooling and mindless husk of a man I used to call father. After I put my axe back in the truck, I called an ambulance out of pity for the poor bastard. I watched my handicapped mother scream for help on the floor, her body covered in feces and urine. I couldn't help but grin ear to ear as I pulled out my phone and gave the facility their first 5-star rating. "It's okay, accidents happen," I reassured my 5-year-old. After seeing her smile, I had a moment of doubt as I shoveled dirt onto the 9th missing pet. "I never killed anyone," he screamed when he was told that he couldn't be let into heaven. As a ghostly spectre appeared in front of him, she replied, "You only knew me by my username." From a young age, I knew I was not supposed to have children. That's why I steal them. I wish I'd put on my hearing aids this morning. I might have heard my son's blood-curdling screams when his hand got stuck in the garbage disposal. After she finished putting the shopping in the back seat, she began to reverse out the parking lot. It was only after she felt the car thud and shudder when she noticed her toddler wasn't in the back. And finally, I was listening to 2-sentence horror stories on YouTube and decided not to subscribe. The very next day, I fell down the stairs and mangled all my legs and neck. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed, and be sure to check out one of the other 11 episodes that you can find on screen now or simply scroll down into the description. Thank you.